everyone, welcome back to No Sugar with Everything Krause. Back on our virtual game, and I'm in a new virtual spot.
Cheers in
She's
a
a
crazy.
brick house. She's mighty mighty. That's literally how I feel right now.
You can just tell from the background of Kateri that like we grew up in an old home, like
Yeah.
old stone home, classic. The way that homes are supposed to be built now today, like they're all sticks made out of little. I don't even know what I'm trying to say, but you know what I mean. I feel like you don't see
Yeah.
beautiful stone homes these days. We live in a beautiful stone home.
Yeah, flex. Yes. So the other day on Instagram on Everything Krause, we had posted a poll saying that we wanted to do more of like a fitness Q&A. As some people know, maybe new listeners don't know, I am a certified personal trainer. I got my certification in the beginning of August. So I was studying pretty much all summer, officially got my certification in August, but I've been into fitness, Isabel has been into fitness for years now, and the certification was kind of just like the cherry on top. I've also been teaching group fitness classes for well over a year. So this was really, we wanted to do this because one, we've been wanting to do it ever since I got certified, but fitness is such a massive part of our life that I always want to throw in fitness conversations because I feel like one of the most common questions we get from people in our DMs over text messages is always somehow fitness related. I think people see us changing up our routines or trying new things and seeing the progress that we're making because we're sharing it and very open with people, so they want to know more. And I just know when I was beginning my fitness journey, I was looking on Instagram and looking for advice from people all the time because it's hard to just like Google things and trust Google when the world and fitness industry is changing so much. So I feel like being able to share just some quick insights with people would be really helpful, especially coming from now a certified personal trainer, group fitness instructor, and two people who are very passionate about fitness and kind of have a routine on lock, right? Like there's
Yeah.
not a day that goes by where we're not moving our body in some way,
Yeah.
shape, or form. And I think it's really important to have open conversations about this continuously.
Well, and I just want to add, I think our credibility really comes from like, yes, Katira, you are certified and you do teach fitness classes. So obviously the credibility is there, but we are also people who, as Katiri said, have been moving our bodies for over probably 10 years, but really started our fitness journey, like really got into it and learning the difference between certain moves and certain workouts. I would say for over 3 years for me and probably over 5 for you now, Katiri, like well over 5. And that really is the credibility right there, because the one thing about fitness is you kind of have to go through the motions of everything to speak on it. And that's why we really wanted to talk to you guys about it, because I feel like people are so intimidated to start that fitness journey because they feel they have to start at that square one. And it's like, well, that's why we're here. Like we went through strength training, we went through Pilates, we went through yoga, we went through running, we did all the stages and really got to a point now where I feel we've found what works and what our thought process is about all of those different forms of movement. So
And I think that's the big, or at least like the hardest part about fitness, especially now with social media, is there are so many different things you can do, and you see people doing so many different types of exercise, which is great. I love all the options and the things that are available for people. But then at the same time, it can be confusing because you'll see people talk about like, oh, do hybrid, do Pilates, strength training, and running. Oh, just do strength training. Oh, just do Pilates. Oh, just do sculpt. It's like, well, what am I supposed to do? And I think we can kind of honestly start off there. I
yeah.
want to preface it with everything that me and Isabel do and what we say is because, like Isabel said, it's what we found works for our bodies. And even myself, my routine is different than Isabel's right now because we have two completely different bodies, and what's working for Isabel is not what's working for me, and vice versa. And I think you really have to be willing to go through trial periods. And even now, like everything I'm doing right now is still somewhat of a trial period because
Yeah.
this isn't gonna, I'm sure in a year I'm gonna want to switch it up again. So I think you just have to be willing to accept that it's not going to look the same for you maybe in a month, and what you're doing right now doesn't mean you're going to be doing it forever. Like you can have the flexibility to change things up, and you just have to trust the process of your body. Like try out a lot of different things to see what feels really good for you, and then go from there. If it's feeling really good, stick with it. As soon as it starts to feel a little bit, like try and switch it up. I think the biggest part about fitness is that you can make it work for you and not against you. So you really have to tap into yourself, and as much as there is on social media and advice that you can get from other people, it is also something that you have to kind of dig within and figure out on your own as well, and through
Yeah.
trial and error for sure.
I literally just saw this video on Instagram and I loved it because like there's no shortcuts in life, but this kid was basically saying like fitness is really the only thing in life where like you can't take a shortcut. Like you have to start at square one and figure it out. You have to
Mhm.
put in the work and be consistent because it truly is the only way that you are going to grow. Like it's the only thing where you are not going to get instant gratification in a world that pushes so much instant gratification. Like they've found
Mhm.
ways to make us instantly gratified in everything, and it's like fitness is the one thing that if you want muscles and you want a toned, sculpted body, you actually have to start at square one and put in the work. So I love
Mhm.
that you just preface with that.
So one of the questions that we got, and this kind of leads right off of what you were just saying as well, and I really like this, is how can you make a fitness lifestyle or fitness routine sustainable and actually something that feels good? So whoever asked that, I thank you for asking, and I really love that question because I think that's the biggest thing people worry about is like, how is this sustainable? Especially when you first start out, you might kind of hate what you're doing or feel like it's a chore every day. Especially in the beginning, I know what that feels like to not want to work out, but you're like, I have to do this. Like, it really does not feel sustainable. And I think a lot of that comes down with figuring out what works for you, but also not setting yourself up for failure in the beginning. Like you have to start small. And I don't mean like work out once a week because honestly, I don't think that's going to be enough motivation and discipline for you to keep it going, but set your goals to be achievable. Set like little goals for yourself so that you know you can hit them, right? Like, okay, in the first month, I want to work out 3 times a week. 2 of those are strength training. One day is like dedicated to rest, recovery, stretching. Maybe another day's walking, a little more cardio, whatever it is that your schedule is. Set yourself up so that you know at the end of the month, like, okay, I can achieve that. And I feel like that's how you can make it so it is sustainable so that moving forward, it's not like, oh my God, I have to work out 6 days a week every single day from the day I start working out to like the day I die. It's like you have to be able to start small, and leading off of that is setting those little goals for yourself. So when you first start working out, what is it that you're trying to achieve, and get really specific, because if you don't have a vision and you don't have a goal ahead of you, it'll just feel like, well, what's the sorry if you hear a lot of doors slamming. The wind is crazy
I
today.
literally was like, what is that?
Every door in this house is slamming. The dogs are like freaking out today.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you don't have a goal in front of you, if you don't have a vision in front of you, you're just going to be like, well, why am I doing this? Like, it's way easier to give up when you don't have a why. And I think that's really, really important to making it a part of your lifestyle, because you're not always going to be motivated. But if you have a strong enough why, it'll fuel that discipline and it'll fuel that
Mm-hmm.
motivation, because discipline will outwork motivation. Motivation is just like it's a fleeting,
It's something that comes and goes.
it,
Like some days
seriously.
you're going to be motivated. If you were motivated every day, you'd be. I haven't met someone who's been motivated every single day of their life,
No,
like
because
ever.
that's
That's just
that's
not
not,
feasible.
yeah, it's not sustainable at all. And people, I think that fitness is all about motivation when it's really just about discipline, and it's about
Mm-hmm.
wanting something better for yourself each and every day.
Yeah.
And that comes with writing down your personal goals. And I do feel like personal goals are really huge. When I first start working with clients, like the first thing I say is, all right, let's write down short-term goals, let's write down some long-term goals, and then we can figure out how we're going to get there, because we can't just start and start. It has to be going somewhere, so the days that I'm not with you, you feel disciplined and motivated enough to work out and to get to where you want to go, because I'm not going to be by your side 24/7 doing
Yeah.
it for you. No one is. Like you have to be able to hold your own hand and get yourself there.
I also just want to clarify that it's not going to be the most exciting and fun thing in the beginning. Like, it's okay if you are dreading your workout every day for the first 2 weeks. As someone who, when they started their fitness journey, absolutely hated the workout, literally thought to myself, like, there is never going to be a day in my life where I want to work out. Like, how is this? I literally was that person. How is this going to be sustainable? After just pushing through the 2 weeks, and when you do really start to see, not even 2 weeks, but when you start to see that first glimpse of results, whether it be mental or physical, that really becomes your motivator. That's kind of where you find motivation, is when you push and push and push and finally see a result. It's like, oh my God, like what I'm doing is paying off, and you almost want to do it more. And it does become something that is like just a habit in your life. Like everything, you need to make it a habit. So it's okay at first if you're like this doesn't feel like it's ever going to be sustainable for me. I was the same way, but I can assure you, stick to the process and you will fall in love with it. Like, it's just
Mhm.
the only way to go about it is you have to get over that first initial hump.
For sure. And then you just get your body gets so used to moving that when you're not, you start craving it more. So
Mm-hmm.
like when you're sitting on the couch and you've been doing it for like 3 days and not actually moving your body, like your body will literally want it, it'll crave it, and then as soon as you go on that walk or you get to the gym or you get to that Pilates class, you're literally just like, oh my God, I don't know why I was avoiding this.
Yeah.
And that happens to me so many times. I always say, you will never regret a workout because I have literally never regretted a workout. The second I start moving in my first round, my first 10 minutes of the workout, like I'm immediately like, this feels amazing. And I'm kind of pumped for the next 2, 3 sets. Like
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait to get there. And of course, sometimes I'm like, can't wait to be done this. And the workout feels like it's the longest thing in the world. But at the end of it, whether I felt good at the end or I was having a bad day, I'm still feeling good about myself because I showed up for myself. And I think that's the most important part is, keeping that promise to yourself and showing up for yourself each and every day.
Yeah, exactly. Kateri, let's just take it back real quick for our audience and really talk about what inspired you to become a personal trainer. Because obviously, we started this fitness journey, but like, why did you want to be a personal trainer? Like, you could have just stuck to keeping fitness to yourself.
Mm-hmm. It's funny because I've always felt like fitness was in my future in some way. I never really knew what that meant. In high school, I was like, with fitness. I always kind of worked out, but I didn't love it. I honestly hated it in high school. I always felt like it was a chore and I had to do it. And then when I got to college, I went undecided to school and I was like, well, I kind of want to do something in like nutrition and fitness. I just like started, I don't know, like something about it. I just felt kind of called to it. And there was no like fitness major, right? There was nothing like specific. So I just was like, all right, went into business. And then I was going to teach group fitness classes I went to Virginia Tech. I was going to teach cycle classes and I was doing my certification. COVID happened and never finished the certification, just kind of like let it go. It was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
screw this. I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
And then when I graduated, I was working my job. I was living in Naples and I was like, really, really wanted to become a yoga sculpt instructor. And the studio that we go to here, which I now teach at in Jenkintown, they posted that they were having a yoga sculpt certification. And I was like, oh my God, this is a sign. I was literally searching all over Naples for a yoga sculpt certification. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
want to do the 200-hour yoga. I just wanted to focus on sculpt. And I loved the workout I got like when I came home and did it at the studio. And I was like, whoa, this is kind of crazy. This is a sign. As soon as I did the certification and started teaching, I literally from my very first pop-up class that I taught, I was like, I was meant to be here. I thrive in this setting. Everything about this I love. So that's from like a personal standpoint that kind of started really to get my wheels and like my brain churning of like where can I take this,
Mm-hmm.
and having just like a sculpt certification wasn't enough for me. It wasn't enough credibility. I wanted to feel really comfortable knowing the body and the different muscles and the different joints and the ligaments and all these different parts of our body that make up working out and that are really important. I wanted to know more and I wanted to feel more confident. In all honesty, I one of my biggest things was like if people asked me a question before I was certified, I didn't feel confident enough to know everything without like fact checking myself. And there's still
Yeah.
times, I mean, I'm still learning a lot, even though I did the certification. Like, there's a lot of information to know. But that was just one of those things where I was like, I want that credibility. I want to be able to be like, no, I am a certified personal trainer. I took that course and I studied for months and months and months all about the human body and how it works and moves together. So that was one of like the biggest driving factors. Another thing that really kind of sparked this love for fitness in me was in college, I actually worked with a personal trainer. I was the client and it was all through COVID. So it was just virtual. And I really just started doing workouts with whatever equipment we had here. So we had a couple dumbbells and it was at the time in my Nana's old bedroom. So there was literally a bed in the room and there was a little strip of floor that I did my workouts on. And that
Mm-hmm.
personal trainer, Josie, shout out Josie, she literally she made me, I was sweating. I was like, my heart rate got up, everything. And I was working with like one dumbbell. And it was in that moment that I realized, well, you don't need to be this like big gym girl or like have all this equipment to get a lot done. And she really helped me connect with my body in a way that I needed. I talked about this a lot in my transformation episode, but I was very disconnected from movement and my body. And she helped me really make that connection and like pull it back together. And in those moments, I was like, I want to give this to other people. There is like nothing that brings me more joy than sharing what I know and what I've learned with other people and helping them fall in love with fitness as well, and recognizing that it's not just to have like the big biceps and the chiseled abs and, the big butt. It's really about fitness for your future. It's being able to
Mm-hmm.
pick up your grocery bags and clean your house and eventually pick up your grandkids and be able to walk with them. Like, I'm thinking about myself 40, 50 years from now. I'm not thinking about just who I am in this moment. Of course, I want to be healthy, but it's all about really taking care of your body for the future. And I feel like I started thinking about that more, and I was just like, I need to be in this industry because I need to share this with other people. Like, it
Yeah.
felt like almost like I was doing myself a disservice to not share with other people.
Yeah.
And yeah, I can confidently say, like, when I talk about fitness, when I'm teaching in front of people, when I'm with my one-on-one clients, like, I am so passionate about it, and it doesn't feel like a job to me. It just feels like,
You're sharing your passion.
yeah, I'm like, it's almost like a hobby, and I'm sharing my hobby, my passion with other people.
Yeah, even just to add on that, like from my perspective on it, I've seen how fitness and movement has literally changed your life and how you just want to change other people's lives too. And it's
Mm-hmm.
so funny because I'm a direct result of that. Like you changing your relationship with fitness is literally the reason that I'm into fitness now. And now I'm experiencing such a better life. And I feel like you saw that transformation within me and mom, and you're like, God, everyone needs this. Like, I need
Mm-hmm.
to be able to be credible enough to teach this. It's just like my opinion.
Yeah. Well, thank you, sister. I'm so happy that you feel that way. But I mean, it is true because even now, like, I'll plan Iswell and I's workouts, like when we go to the gym together, or if Iswell's going and it's like, what can I do for these moves? Like, I don't even think about it in a sense of like, oh, I'm the personal trainer, I'm making the plan. It almost just comes from like experience and like knowing kind of what Iswell likes now and what we both like. Um, Leading off of that, sorry, like I want to
No, but you
talk.
do know what I like now. You can tell
Yeah,
when like Kateri knows I'm coming to her yoga sculpt class. I'll be like, this was literally designed for me, everyone. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
yeah. But there's also just like certain things that I like. And someone did ask like what are my favorite moves and like my favorite style of working out. So as I've talked about many times, I do teach a variety of different classes. Like, I teach yoga sculpt, I teach mat Pilates, I teach HIIT workouts, and I'm a personal trainer, so like one-on-one. So it's a lot of different styles, but the theme throughout them all is very similar in my types of moves that I do, because I am a stick to the basics type of gal. I like to get creative, but I like to get creative with the basic movements. So like my favorite moves, and I think Isabel can probably agree with this, like squats. I will always love a dumbbell squat. You don't need to pick up a barbell. I'm always like a dumbbell squat type gal. I love a lunge. Lunges are my absolute favorite, and I think lunges are the best way to build your leg muscle, to tone your legs, and you will feel the burn even with body weight lunges. So
Yeah.
like if you're on vacation, literally if you do 10 lunges on each leg and do that 4 times, like you can't tell me you won't feel that burn. So lunges are one of my absolute favorites. Other things like upper body, I love bicep curls, shoulder presses, like some
Literally just
narrow
the
rows,
basics.
the basics, literally core work. I like functional core work over like crunches. So holding a weight, marching, standing marches. I do like a Russian twist because I think it adds a lot of control through your core, not like swinging those legs. Like, I like it really controlled and
Hmm.
slow. What's other core moves that we like to do? Or like just other
I
moves.
like I love just like a classic plank, into side
Yeah,
planks, into regular
planks.
plank.
Oh
Like
my
I
God.
feel like all the movements you're listing to are very intentional, where you can really focus on that mind muscle connection. I think a lot of the time when people approach the gym and they start adding cables and cable kickbacks and lat pull downs, it becomes like this thing where you need to learn the machine and then also learn how it taps into your muscle. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
whereas when you have a dumbbell, like you're just focused on moving the weight. And
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes with me, I'm like, am I doing the proper form with the cable? Like there's just so many other things that come into play. And it's like, bring it back to the basics. You're still
Mm-hmm.
getting a workout with your shoulder press, even if you're not doing a lat pull down. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like there's just, you just simplify it. Like simplify it for yourself. And I feel like that's why we love it, is because we can connect with the movements so much. Like
Mm-hmm.
mentally, I feel exactly what I'm doing when I do dumbbells versus the lat pull down. I'm kind of like, what's this hitting?
Yeah. And like, I think that mind body connection, I know how important the mind body connection is and how it can actually progress you further in your fitness journey than you realize. Like when you're really connected to your movements and you're intuitively moving and you're intuitively lifting up more like heavier weights, or you're going up in reps because you're still sticking with that weight, like whatever it is, I feel like it's very intuitive for the both of us. And I just feel like when you go back to the basics, like you said, your mind's not worrying about a million different things of like the machine, the form, and everything. And you can actually focus on the quality of the movement, because
Mm-hmm.
I always say this in my classes: quality over quantity. I would rather you get 5 super quality reps in than 20 reps in, because
Mm-hmm.
form is going, if your form is off, you're going to get injured eventually. You might not get injured in that moment, but over time it's going to lead to a bunch of overactive muscles and you're going to hurt your lower back, you're going to pull a muscle. Like how many times have we hurt our lower back
Yeah.
because
Ooh.
we were more focused on repping it out, or we were like, oh wait, my core wasn't engaged a little bit more on those RDLs, like clearly something was wrong, right? So then we take it back, focus a little bit more, and we kind of rebuild those muscles. So I just think the basic movements are my favorite. And going off of like my favorite workout styles, it is a full body workout, or even leg and upper body focused on a set of dumbbells or one dumbbell. Like if you go to Everything Krause or you go to my Sculpted with Kateri page, the workouts I'm posting are like just with dumbbells. Like I'm not posting workouts in the gym
Mm-mm.
on a bunch of machines. Now listen, I think machines can be used to your advantage. If you love the gym, that's amazing. There's so many amazing workouts you can do with machines. But if you're newer to the gym, if you're newer to working out, if you have a set of dumbbells at home, start there. Like you can do an entire workout. I went to the gym the other day. I stayed in one spot with one 20-pound dumbbell and I hit my entire body.
Yeah.
Literally from my arms to my core to my legs, like everything was hit and I was in and out like that. It
Well, it's
was,
funny. We went with Kateri and I like went through that gym phase where we like had a routine where we were using cables, using the lat pull down, and now I literally go to the gym to be in one area just to use the dumbbells. Like I
mhm,
prefer dumbbell only workouts. I don't think I'll be
yeah,
moving back honestly to using the machinery.
I
And I
know.
also feel like it's more sustainable just using dumbbells. Like if you set yourself up in a gym routine where you need the lat pull down because that's the only move you know to hit your lats, like what are you going to do when you're traveling and you don't have a gym to access? Like for
Mhm.
me, when I come to Cape May, because I only do dumbbell workouts now, I can do a dumbbell workout on the porch. I can do it on the beach. And then I can go home and I can do it in the gym. I can do it at home. I can do it in our basement. Like I can get my workout in anywhere now. And
Mhm.
that's why it's so easy to keep up with my workouts. Like there's no excuse to miss a day.
Yeah. And I think even if you're a person who does already love the gym and you're listening to this and like you like your machines, you don't have to switch that up. Maybe add one, like on Friday, I would say like full body Friday. Like make your full body workout with just dumbbells, so that when, like as was said, when you are traveling or you're kind of off your routine and you're not in your gym, it's not like, well, I don't know what to do. Cause I've been there where I was so stuck in my gym routine that when I was out of the gym, I legitimately felt like I couldn't think of a singular workout, couldn't think of a
Yeah.
move, and then it would just feel like an ineffective workout. And I was like, well, what do I do? But,
Yeah.
so I feel like if you tap back into the basics, like I will harp on the basics all day long because I just truly think you will see the most results. And I don't know, like right now in my life, I don't feel like you need to crush your muscles and your body with going up to these extreme weights with these big barbells like on your back. I do think there's a time and place for them. And I'm not saying I eventually maybe won't go back to that. Like who knows what'll happen, but I just think, I don't know, I'm all about like injury prevention and more so, like I said, fitness for your future. And I do feel like your muscle growth and everything, like that all comes even using just a dumbbell.
Yeah. So we got a lot of questions on the different types of movements, particularly like compound movements versus isolation movements. Could you speak on that for us?
Yeah. I think that's really one, it's a great question because everyone should know that and know, like I feel like you see on Instagram a lot like, oh, compound movements, start with the compound movements. Like, well, what does that even freaking mean? Like, I don't
Yeah.
know what you mean by compound movements. And I know when I first started working out, I was like so confused by that. It is very simple. Compound is exactly how it sounds. Compound movements uses multiple muscles, joints together to complete the movement. So in a squat is a great example of a compound movement. And I will always start my workout with compound movements because you're using more muscles than just like an isolated, you're working one muscle essentially. So with a compound movement, when you're think about a squat, right? Like you're sitting down, almost like you're sitting into a chair. If you were to hold that squat, you would feel multiple parts of your leg fire up. So your core is working, your glutes are working, your hamstrings working, your quads are working, your calves are working, your shin muscles are literally working. So there is so much of your leg that is working in a squat position. Same thing with like a chest press. If you're on a bench or you're just laying down and you're pressing those weights up, you're working your biceps, your shoulders, your chest muscles, your back is getting activated. Like there's multiple muscles that are all working together to complete the movement. So compound movements are really, really good for functionality, for building kind of like that coordination. And I really love them for core stability because your core is involved in every single movement you do, whether you realize it or not. So compound movement kind of helps create a nice just coordination among all these different muscles that work. So, like I said, squats, deadlifts are another great compound movement, chest press, lat pull downs are another great one. And then isolated movements, exactly how it sounds, you really are isolating a single muscle. So think like bicep curls. You really on a bicep curl, yes, you're getting some grip strength here, but the main muscle working is that bicep curl or excuse me, bicep muscle. And the reason, of course, isolated movements are also key to have in your workout is because they're great for balancing out your muscles. So 9 times out of 10, you will be stronger on one arm than you are the other. You'll be stronger on one leg than you are the other. So isolated movements really help to balance out your muscles and making sure they're both equally as strong because my left arm is always weaker. Classic. I'm right hand dominant, so of course my right bicep curl feels a little bit stronger. But when you're just working those, I like to keep it just bicep. I don't like to add too much into the bicep curl because I really want to focus on the bicep muscle. So I think both have play their part majorly. So just to compare the two, compound is great for honestly burning more calories as well because you are using more muscles. So you're going to get your heart rate up more. In turn, you're going to burn more calories and you are going to build, I believe, more muscle strength with the compound movements because so much is working together. Isolated movements are, like I said, great for targeting a certain muscle and really building on that muscle, kind of sculpting that muscle a little bit more so you can kind of target a certain spot a little bit more with isolated movements. So if you're like, oh, I really want to grow my biceps, well, you know, with a bicep curl, with a W curl, with a hammer curl, that you really can focus specifically on the bicep and like not too much around it, which is, I think, great. Another one would be like a tricep kickback, really, really focusing on the triceps, specifically the back of the arm.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I also feel like the reason that I like compound is because I'm like, okay, like I'm just toning my overall body versus like what you said, isolation is for one muscle. So if I have a certain goal in mind, like I really want to be able to do 10 tricep push-ups in a row, like I know I really need to work on building those tricep muscles up because they're
Mm-hmm.
small. So I feel like that's where I like isolation is like when I have a certain fitness goal to reach, that's where isolation comes in because you can target that muscle group.
Exactly. And so that's a good example of you're using isolated movements to build the strength for the compound movement.
Mm-hmm.
So the push up would be the compound movement. When you do a push up, it is a full body
Oof.
workout, a push up. So you're using isolation to really hit specific needs. And I think that's why both are super important. So if you're like, how do I plan my workout? What I do for myself, for Isabel, for my classes, is I like to start with the compound. And as I'm working my way down, that's when I'll hit the isolated. So I always start with like the squats, the lunges, the push ups, things like that. And then I work my way into maybe just regular bicep curls or what's another isolated one? Like a leg extension if you're at the gym, or even if you're just like laying down on the ground, like leg extension or like hammer curls on the ground, like that's specifically going to work your quad or your hamstring. Those are other just isolated ones. 9 times out of 10, the moves you're doing are probably compound.
Mm-hmm.
But like Isabel said, if you're like, oh, I want to get better at my push ups, well, what helps your push ups? Your tricep muscles, work the triceps.
Yeah. Okay, so this was the most popular question. It probably got asked about 20 times, and I feel like it's the question that every single person in the world asks. Why am I not seeing results?
It
I'm gonna let you
is,
take the floor
yeah.
on that one.
It is the burning desire, the burning question that everyone wants to know. And obviously, rightfully so. Like, if you're working out all the time and you're not seeing results, like, it sucks. You
Yeah.
know, it's like, how do I actually continue this if I'm not seeing the results I want to see? One, start off, do you have goal set? I think, again, I'm going to hammer home on that because I think it's very important. Do you even know what it is that you're trying to reach? Two, another thing I think is important, and I think doing the 75 hard has helped us realize this, is those progress photos. Like every once in a while, like take a quick video, do a turn, flex in the mirror. You'll be able to see how far you've come actually, because when you just look at yourself in the mirror, it's very hard to see where, you know, where you've changed, what has worked, what has not worked. I feel like we get so in our heads and we have that body dysmorphia where we like can't actually see how far we've come. So I do feel like progress videos and photos are just a great tool to utilize, and like you don't have to show anyone them. They can just hide on your camera roll. Like create a an album that's locked. Like
Mm-hmm.
do whatever you need to do with those photos. And then another thing, which is, well, I know that you can agree on, if you are not being consistent with yourself, if you are showing up here and there and you're not actually putting in the dedicated time each and every week, like, no duh, you're not going to see results. Like,
Yeah.
just to be frank, like, you cannot expect to get somewhere if you're not putting in the work. And like you said in the beginning, fitness is the one thing, like, you can't beat around the bush. If you're
Yeah.
not doing the work, like, you're not going to get to where you want to be. And that's kind of the hard truth that you need to tell yourself in order to get to where you want to be. And I don't know, that can be anywhere. You might want to gain 10 pounds of muscle, might want to shed 10 pounds of fat. Like, you could be on any spectrum, but you still have to be showing up for yourself like every single day.
Yeah, like I hate to say it, like there is no room, especially for starting the journey. If you really want to see results, like if you truly do want to see it, there is no room for, oh, I woke up late today and I'm just not going to get my workout in. Like if it's that important to you, figure out a time to get it in. Work out at
Mhm.
10 p.m. I don't know. Like that sounds so harsh, but like that is the key to results. It's consistency, and the like the slower that you build it, the slower it'll, like the longer it'll take to see results. If you
Mhm.
do a 5 day a week workout plan and you stay consistent with that for 4 weeks, you're going to see results. If you shift that back to 3 days some weeks and 5 days some weeks, like, all right, shift that result goal to now 8 weeks.
Mhm.
Like, so it's kind of on you.
And I, even going off of that, seeing physical results from the gym, mental results come very quickly, in my
Yeah,
opinion. Like when you
I think
start
so
moving
too.
your body, like mentally, you change pretty quickly. The physical results take time. Like as was said in the beginning of this, I have been working out consistently for over 5 years. And I feel like I am now finally really seeing results. Like in the past year and a half, I've started seeing like major results, right? And it's like, well, I've been doing it for 5 years, where, and even through college, I would, you know, I would see like my definition start to change a little bit. Even when I graduated, I was like, okay, I would start to take those videos and be like, wow, look at those muscles. Now I look back at those videos, I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I thought that like that was it. Like now I look even better than I did a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. And you just have to trust that process. I think people so often, because we live in like a quick gratification world, they think that these results are going to come in a year. It's going to take longer than a year. It's not going to come in a month, not 2 months, not 3 months. Literally, you have to stay consistent for years. And that's why finding something that works for you is so important, because it's not a short term thing. Like, I saw a reel today and I actually saved it as well because I want to make it. It's like, it was in quotes, it was like, you work out all the time. Like, all you do is work out. And the girl answers, like, yeah, that's the point. Like, that is the point, is
True.
to, it is to literally do it every day. It's to do it and feel good, and to not take weeks off, because that's not what you do anymore. Like, what you do is work out, and you get in such a good routine and a habit, and you find this love for it that it is a part of your life. Just like if you're a vegan, not eating meat is a part of your life, or if you're a carnivore, eating meat is a part of your life. Like, it's becomes literally who you are to your core.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it is one of my core values, is movement and fitness and taking care of my body. Like, if you're not aligned with that, like me and you aren't aligned as people. Like that,
Yeah.
it needs to become that for you, truly.
I saw this fitness influencer like post a Q&A, and one of the questions he got was, how do I get a six pack quickly? And he literally like posted a video responding and was like, the problem's literally in what you just asked. Like,
Yeah.
you're not going to get it quickly.
No.
That's like, you're literally, what are you here for? And I literally thought it was so funny that he just said that, because it's so true. Like, it's not going to come quick. If you're trying to get it quickly, like, then your head's not in it for the right reason.
Exactly.
You have to be dedicated to the long-term game. That's just the honest truth. And I know that sounds dreadful. And if you're hearing this and you're like, oh shit, well, guess what? If you start today, you're a day closer. So use that as your motivation to get started now. Because if you don't want to delay it any further, then you might as well start now, because in a year, you'll be a year further than you were today.
Yeah. What are people calling it on Instagram? The winter arc. That's like the trend that's going
yeah.
on. It's like,
so funny.
literally though, like use the winter as your time to get freaking shredded, get the body you want. Like it's in the next couple months, like you're not going to be perfect by the time summer comes. Like people think you're going to be like unrecognizable, maybe from the point you are now, but like then you're going to get there and always want to reach more goals, which is amazing. But like start now. Why wait until January 1st? Like you can start now and work on yourself. Another big thing with not seeing results, you can't outwork a bad diet. If you don't fuel your body with healthy whole foods, you will not see results. If you are consuming excess alcohol, if you are drinking every single weekend and then trying to work it off during the week, you are literally putting your body in this toxic cycle, and you will not outwork that bad diet and that bad unhealthy lifestyle. Like that's just how it is. And I was literally proof of that in college. Like I wondered why I didn't see results. I drank every single weekend and I ate like pretty healthy during the week, but it was like my weekend habits that derailed me all week long. It didn't matter how much I worked out during the week. I didn't see a stitch of results because I couldn't outwork my bad lifestyle.
You literally were erasing all of the work that you just did on the weekend. So like every single time you did that, all right, now you're resetting from square one. Like it literally is a reset at square one. And it's not saying that you can't have those cheat moments, you can't have those like alcohol, but I'm just saying like Kateri said, you can't outwork it. So if you're really dedicated to wanting seeing results, like you kind of got to go all in on the diet.
Exactly. And it's 80-20. Like that 20% needs to stay 20 and it can't go over 20. Like if you want to still have fun with your friends, like, okay, maybe you don't have as many drinks on the weekend. Like you don't have to have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 drinks. Like you can go out and have 2 drinks and just call it a night. And those are the sacrifices that you need to make. And obviously we're doing the 7.5 Hearts, so we're not drinking right now, but even if we weren't doing this and like I was, drinking whatever and didn't think about like, oh, I can't have that. Like I really, really changed my lifestyle. And of course I'm not going out as much just in general, but when I graduated college, like I really did cut back on the drinking. Like that was one of those things where I was like, if I want to see results, like I can't be drinking all the time. I can't be, and not like all the time, but like I can't be drinking as much when I do go out. If I want to go out to dinner with my boyfriend, we want to get a drink, like I'm a one and done type gal. Maybe I'm 2, but like when I hit that 2, 3 max, I'm like, I'm done, because like I don't want this anymore. I don't want this in my body. And I'm definitely not doing it the next night too, and that's just the sacrifice you have to make. And understand that like you can still have fun without eating the bar food and getting a bunch of drinks and drunk eating McDonald's and a bunch of shit. Like I'm sorry, but you have to stop with the ultra processed food.
No, it's
and it's
so
not
true.
even just about like the party lifestyle. I even mean during the week too. Like is 80% of your food whole, healthy, real foods, or is it 80% ultra processed? Because our world lives in ultra processed food. Like we live in that environment. Take a look at your diet. If you're, eating clean, but then at night you're like eating candy and Snickers, it's like, yeah. What do you think that's doing to you?
Well, and I feel like people get so annoyed that it has to be like this sacrifice, but it's like, yeah, that's the point. Like there's a reason that a fit body has to be earned. There's a reason that there's a sector of people who are like fitness influencers and everyone wants to be them. It's like, I'm not saying praise them, but like, yeah, they're the ones who have made the sacrifices. They were okay with the sacrifice they had to make for their end goal. That was worth it to them. And that's the point that you need to get to. Like the sacrifice needs to become so worth it that you don't even care that it's a sacrifice. It's just like, yeah, that's what I need to do. Because I feel like that's really what happened for us. And honestly, the 75 Hard has helped me see how important that diet is, because last year at school, and I'm not saying that it needs to go all in, but I was working out, and then there would be some nights on the weekend where like I would go out and drink, or I'd be like, oh, it's Friday, like let me get like a sweet snack tonight. And I would get a like big ice cream sundae with my friends, and like, yes, that was fun in the moment, but the biggest thing I was saying to Kateri during that time was like, why am I not seeing like as much results? Like I go to the gym every single day. I kept saying that to you. And now that I'm on the 75 hard and I'm literally only doing whole foods, no processed sugars, no processed foods, my body has literally transformed within the 2 week mark, now to 4 weeks, now to 8 weeks. Like I am literally getting results like that. It's never been easier because I'm just staying consistent and my diet is not changing.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you like, I'm not just saying this to be like, oh, you need to be healthy. Like, no, it's literally the matter of a fact. It changed my life. Fixing my diet changed my whole fitness routine.
Yeah, like if being physically fit and mentally fit was easy, everyone would do it and we wouldn't have an obesity crisis in this world.
Yeah.
Like that's just how it is. And another thing about the healthy eating, as a personal trainer, I'm not really like I'm not qualified to talk about like and tell you like what to eat, but anyone can tell you that whole not processed foods is going to be healthier than ultra processed foods. Like that's just that. It just like working out does, like eating healthy becomes a habit. It becomes almost like a ritual. Like I enjoy the foods I'm eating. I don't dread what I'm eating at all. I actually can't wait to eat my healthy dinner and my healthy
Mm-hmm.
lunch and breakfast. Like it fuels me. It makes me feel good. I don't get tired. I don't get about it. Like it makes me feel good. And I think the same thing with working out. Once you start doing something, your body craves that. Like if we're traveling or we're doing something where I'm like eating out a lot and I'm not just like in my kitchen, like I literally crave a homemade healthy meal. If I go too long without healthy, like all I want is healthy.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's not often that I do that, but it's just it's just something that your body gets used to. And then once you realize like how good you feel eating a certain way, it's not worth like picking up the Snickers. And I'm only saying Snickers because they're like my favorite candy.
No,
But
literally. But it's
but I
also like a
won't, but I
challenge.
would like
Like,
never eat a Snickers again. You know, it's
no, I
like
literally never
because
will.
you
It's
know
not worth
why?
it.
I've also found healthier alternatives. Like there's a brand called Unreal. Now that's still a processed candy. They're a little bit healthier and they have a Snickers version. I don't buy those often because also I make date bark with peanut butter and chocolate. To me, it straight up tastes like a Snickers. So
Yeah.
if I'm craving a Snickers, I will make the date bark and eat it. I don't hold myself back from the huge chocolate and the peanut butter and the dates. Like to me, that's amazing. We make these healthy brownies. We make these carrot balls that are delicious. All of that's on Everything Krause. You can get all those recipes. Like find ways to make your favorite foods healthier. You can
Yeah.
make homemade pizza and make it healthier. You can make homemade pasta and make it healthier. Even if it's not homemade, you can buy cleaner ingredient foods, less processed sauce and pasta. Like there is ways around it and everything in moderation. 80/20 rule. Allow yourself to have the flexibility, but know that 80% of your life should be the healthy lifestyle that you want to. And don't go over that 20. It's not 70/30. It's not 50/50. Like it is 80/20 for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Because 20% is not a lot. And you'll realize that 20% is not a
Yeah.
lot. But don't don't go above that and you will feel better. I'm like all about living in a balanced lifestyle, but that's why I think the 80/20 is the best balance to live. It doesn't mean you have to go all in or all out, but it allows you enough to be fueled by like, okay, well, my 20%, I was able to go out with my friends and like have a couple drinks. Like I
Yeah.
got my fuel and now I'm good. Like I got that
There's
little
also like
itch.
ways to even be healthier, like what you said with like you can make your favorite sweets healthy. You like it's the same thing with alcohol. Like tequila is the healthiest and cleanest and lowest calorie drink to consume. Like I always opt for tequila sodas.
Mm-hmm.
Always. Now, if you don't like, if that's a bad alcohol for you and you've had bad stories, like obviously don't go down that route. But it's just like the same way. Like you don't have to miss out on drinking, but maybe don't choose the most caloric twisted tea. Like that's
Yeah.
straight sugar. Like that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's not going to be good for you. You can make healthier options. You can just do a club soda with a lime instead of like all of the fruit juice in it. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? So it's just like you don't have to cut back on all the fun. Just like put in the work to like figure out how you can make it work for you.
Yeah,
Like I don't.
exactly.
Everyone always says to me like, "Don't you miss candy though?" No, truthfully, no. I would choose
No,
date bark over a Snickers any day of the week because
any
it
day.
it leaves me feeling better. So like
Mm-hmm.
now I'm at the point where I'm like I actually enjoy it more because it tastes just as good, if not better, and it also mentally makes me feel better.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Okay, now moving on to like a little like fun section. I liked these questions that people got. Like someone said, what's one fitness trend that you really like or that you think will stick around and something that you hate and like hope won't actually work. So one thing that I'm really liking is I feel like on social media, and I don't really know if this is considered like a trend or not, but I'm seeing a lot of people talking about more like intuitive strength training. And what I mean by that is like you even see like the Pilates princesses, like they're all kind of using these light weights, and you see people balancing like Pilates and walking with the gym and with strength training. And I feel like people are really starting to listen to their bodies more. And we are getting a lot of influence, of course, from people on Instagram being like, I do this. And everyone's like, oh, I need to do that now. But I feel like the basis of it is like, this is what's working for me. So that's why I'm doing it. And I really like that more intuitive style. I feel like I've switched to more intuitive workouts, even with like the single weight work. If like I'm feeling like kind of off that day, I'm not feeling as strong, like I will just do less reps, and I don't beat myself up for that. It's more so like pushing my body when it feels like it can be pushed, and holding back when I like need a little bit more of a need a little more love and like a less like aggressive approach. So I feel like that's just something I am seeing a lot, and I hope that, I don't know if it's necessarily a trend, but more people are definitely talking about like being more intuitive with working out. And I, no matter what it is that you're doing for movement, I think that it needs to be intuitive for
Yeah,
sure.
100%. One of my favorite trends is just like, it's so simple, 12 through 30 on the treadmill, like incline walking. I'm
Yes.
sorry, that shit works. Like, I'm not saying to like go to that, but if you don't even know what to start doing, like 12 3 30 on the treadmill, 12 incline, 3 speed, 30 minutes, you will sweat, you will be mentally disciplined, like you're going to be pushing through, you're going to feel so good, all the toxins are going to leave your body. If you are having an off day, you don't want to lift weights, you're sore, just get on the treadmill. It always leaves me feeling better, and I just feel like it's such a great trend because it really is good for fat loss. So like people always say like, how do I see results? Like that's kind of like the easiest tip to give people is like, start walking on a treadmill at an incline at a high speed, like you will see results kind of.
And it's,
It's kind of like the hack, like you don't want to put in that much work. All right,
yeah,
12
and
3
like,
30.
yeah, like you don't want to sprint on the treadmill. Like I honestly like the incline walking better than I like going outside and running. I mean, I do love running outside, but you know, like running, sprinting on a treadmill, I think the 12 through 30 is way more forgiving to your joints, and you see more results. It's not
Mm-hmm.
as much of a cortisol spike. Like I just feel like that's, I agree. The 12 through
Yeah,
30, the girl that started that in COVID, like props to you, because it
props to you.
truly is something that works. And I even tell my clients like, get incline walking. You want to like lose that baby weight, you want to lose fat, you want to burn muscle, or excuse me, burn fat and like gain muscle, like incline walking with the strength training is the most beautiful combination in the world. So
Yeah.
that's
Okay,
another
now
thing.
for oh,
Wait, real quick, I just feel like the real trend is that people are getting into weights. People used to be so scared of weights, and I just, they need to be in our life forever, so I hope
yeah.
they never go away.
Yeah, definitely. One thing that I don't like about the fitness industry as a whole, which really I feel like comes with fit influencers and like bulking and all of that, is just normalizing unhealthy foods just
Oh
because
my
they're
god.
protein packed. Like the protein powders out there that are like fruity pebbles flavor, like that's not healthy for you. The protein bars that these people are eating, I'm like, stop normalizing it just because you're eating in a calorie deficit. Like you are not creating a healthy home inside. It may be helping
No,
you
I
bulk and
know.
you may be getting muscles, but you are not healthy. I'm sorry, you're not. Red Bulls to get you up in the morning, Celsius, they are not healthy for you.
Yeah, and
Stop normalizing it. Like being truly healthy is eating a clean diet and moving your body. That's what I want to see go.
100%. It is honestly sad how many like fitness influencers consume that stuff, if I'm being honest. And I don't mean this from a judgmental standpoint at all, but you can kind of tell that's the diet they're consuming, because they
Yeah.
have this like inflamed look to them. Like they look really good, but it's a little bit more inflamed. And then because I've also been seeing some of these people post like their body transformation, people are like, I don't understand what changed because you're still doing the same workouts. And they're like, I honestly ditched all the, I just saw mom walk by the way. Mom's on a walk.
Oh,
I actually ditched all the like processed protein and the protein bars and the protein shakes that were like filled with junk, and I switched to more whole foods. And that's what happened. I lost the inflammation in my body. Like
yeah.
same body, just less inflammation. So I'm gonna agree with you on that.
Yeah.
That needs to go. It needs to,
Well,
seriously,
just
people need
because
to
it's like,
focus more on ingredients and what you're putting in your body.
yeah, because that's true health. Like you can be in shape, but that doesn't mean you're healthy. And I feel like it's normalizing the fact that just because you look good means you're healthy. That's not always the case. And the reason that we're so passionate about it is because a healthy body, like from the inside out, is truly what determines your mental state. Everything, like anxiety, depression, mood swings, all of that comes from your gut health. And if you are creating an unhealthy gut, you're not going to be mentally healthy. So yeah, anyway. Last question is, what is the hardest workout you two have ever done? Like where have you been the most challenged? And I think, I don't know,
Recently.
maybe I can speak on this for you too, Kateri. Do you know what I'm gonna
Per-
say?
I think so, probably.
Yeah, so we recently did Pilates at a studio called is it Let's Get Carved or Carve?
Carved.
Carved Pilates in Orlando, Florida, but they have different locations like literally everywhere. Check them out on Instagram. Highly recommend
It's
because I don't
reformer
know,
Pilates.
it's reformer Pilates. I don't know why they call you guys Pilates princesses because that shit literally worked muscles I didn't even know
My
existed. Like,
armpits hurt.
yeah, like I was just, and this is as people who go to the gym, like we work out every single day, 2 times a day.
Yeah.
I
Like,
literally was like stiff as a board the next day. I couldn't
mhm.
move my body. I was so sore, and every single movement I did in the entire class hurt. Like every
Yeah.
time I did something, I was like, "Oh my God, that burns."
No,
So
literally.
it just was crazy. And like it's so funny because like I can lift weights, I can push through mentally for any of them, but you put me on a Pilates reformer, oh my God, I am battling. I'd rather run
Yeah.
a marathon than like have to do it. No, I liked it though. I
Yeah,
would
no,
rather
it
run a
was very
marathon.
enjoyable, but it definitely was a mental push. Like it
Whew.
was, whew, it was a body, it was a physical push and a mental push. So yeah, the reformer Pilates, and I am now certified to teach mat Pilates, but like the reformer is a whole different game. And now like when I see these people on TikTok or Instagram, like I'm like, holy shit, I just know what you're doing is way harder than it looks. Like
Yeah.
I always knew that it was hard. I didn't think that it was easy. Like I knew that Pilates was hard, but I've never done reformer. So yeah, it was a humbling experience, that's for sure.
Humbling. Humbling.
Humbling to
I
say the
felt like I
least.
never worked out a day in my life when I was in
No,
that
like
class.
literally. It was wild. And I put on deodorant the next morning and I was like, ow, like I literally thought something was wrong with my armpit. I was like kind of got scared. I'm like, Isol, are your armpits sore? She's like, yeah. And then Brittany felt the same way. Like it was just crazy. It
It
was
was so crazy.
crazy. But yeah, so I think that honestly, what from like top of mind, that's definitely the hardest workout. Where I was like
Yeah.
most challenged because one, I've never been on a reformer machine, so it was even just like learning that, but two, like the actual physical effort that went out. It was challenging in a beautiful way though.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna say I'm gonna start it because I'm not gonna pay for reformer Pilates. I'm just not. Like,
We
I
did
go to
find a we did
yeah.
find a Pilates machine on the street.
Don't even get
Kateri
us.
has this thing where she talks things into existence where she literally like wants something and then she'll say it and then the next day it'll literally be for free outside someone's house.
Oh, no, I'm not kidding. I found like specifically with workout equipment in Naples. I really wanted a treadmill. Walking around my neighborhood, found a treadmill, freaking wheeled that thing a mile home.
It's
I
perfect. They're
wanted
always in
wanted
perfect
a little
condition.
trampoline to bounce on. Was literally looking on Amazon for like those bouncers. Found one on the street. Used it once. Dad was pissed about that one. Third time's the charm. I'm literally looking at reformer Pilates machines on Aldi because apparently Aldi has a reformer, and it's like 250 bucks. The next day, I'm picking up as well from the train station. I went down the street. I wasn't even gonna go down, and I was like, "Oh, I'll just go this way." I'm like, "Oh my God, I think we just passed the reformer machine on the street," and we did. Picked it
And
up.
the lady literally
Sitting
came
on
out and was like, "It is in perfect condition. I got it during COVID. I've used it once." And I was like,
literally.
"We will be
I'm like,
taking this home
perfect. Is it still sitting in our basement, not set up? Yes. Will we get to it? Yes.
eventually."
Eventually. But yeah.
Anyway,
So that was a lot of different things in one episode. We could go on forever. We did get more questions. They were all kind of like along the similar lines. So this will continuously, obviously, always be a topic. Fitness is always going to be a topic. And I love talking about it. I know Isabel loves talking about it. And I know that you guys always have a lot of questions on it. So even if we're not recording an episode, always feel free to reach out to us, DM us, text us. As I always say, comment on the YouTube. If you want to keep it private, send us a DM. We are truly love sharing this with everyone. We want to be as open as possible. There is no gatekeeping here about what it is that we're doing, and there's no secrets to be had
yeah.
here. Like we want to share this all with you, and especially now that I am learning so much more as a certified personal trainer and a group fitness instructor, I just think it's really important to share these things with people, to give insight and knowledge, and know that you're not alone. You're not alone in having these questions. They're very common. So I just wanted to share that with you all. And I think that I know that I can't wait to do this again just because I like centering the conversation around fitness because like I said in the beginning, it is like a core value to us and
Yeah.
such a massive part of our life. So definitely more to come on fitness and we have past episodes as well. So if you're interested, feel free to go back and find our other fitness episodes. I know we have like 2 or 3
And make sure
throughout.
you are following us on Instagram at Everything Krause because we are really getting into. We got over the hump of not filming ourselves working out, and now we
Yeah.
are really getting into the swing of like trying to post 2 to 3 workout plans like a week. So stay tuned if you need some inspiration. What should I do for dumbbell? What are the compound movements you're talking about? What are the functional core? Check out our Instagram. We will be posting them. We're going to redo all of our highlights and have all of those workouts in line for you, eventually coming down the pike with a plan for you.
Yeah. So if you're like, oh, what are the workouts that we were talking about, when I'm like, I plan these for me as well, we have a couple of those already filmed and posted on our Instagram. So you can go find them, save them for later, like create a collection on your Instagram where you can just go and find the workout videos easily. That's what I do as well for inspiration. So definitely go and do that. Check that out. But without further ado, I'm like the toast. If you know, you know. Isabel, why don't you go ahead and give them one more piece of advice today? I know we gave a lot of advice, but there's just something that always really hits home with this final piece, and I just think it's the most important, most valid one.
I think the key driving factor that will help you see the results you are looking for is subscribing to this YouTube channel, liking this episode, liking every single episode, commenting, following us on Instagram, following on both accounts, No Sugar Pod and at Everything Krause, interacting with us, asking questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. That is how you get results. That's how you move forward and grow. We are here to help you. We want to share this passion with you. So please continue supporting us, and we will always support you guys.
Yes. And also follow at Sculpted with Kateri
for more.
Sorry. That's okay. Like, that's just my more
Well, that's just going to be prime fitness. Like, if you want to work out every single day, that's where you're going to find it on that account. So we have a lot of content pillars on EK. We got to hit a lot. All right.
So Sculpted is my like just fitness focus. That's where you can, if you're interested in taking a class near me and you live in the area, like I teach at 4 different studios, so you can go on and see my schedule and all that type of fun stuff. And I post pretty much the same videos we post on Everything Krause though. So
who thinks Kateri should make an online fitness platform and have a YouTube channel? I do. Everyone raise your hands.
Yeah.
Because I would buy that. I would do it.
I know. So there's a lot of things that are in the works to come.
Holding you accountable right now, right here.
I know. I just need to, get the brain on this, or really get the actions on the same wavelength as my brain and my ideas. So
yeah.
So yes, thank you all for listening and tuning into today's episode. We hope you got as much value out of this as we felt like we were giving, and I truly enjoyed this conversation, so I hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you so much for listening and for all your support. We hope you have an amazing rest of your day, an amazing rest of your week, and we will see you next time.